Today I'm going over trend lines, a more in-depth video on how you can identify a trend line. Okay, first and foremost, just to give you an idea or to have your mindset on how to identify a trend line, think of a trend line like a surfer in the waves. What is the goal of somebody that's surfing in the ocean? To stay above the waves, right? You don't want to be under the wave, because if you under the wave, you're gonna drown, right? So think of your trend line, right? The trend line is the wave, right? And the market is the surfer. So the goal is you want to make sure that that market stays above that trend line. Y'all see how it's not crossing it at all? It's not going past it. That's how you know if you have a clean and valid trend line. Some trend lines, yes, not all trend lines will be perfect. Some trend lines, the market might drop. It might go through that white line a little bit. Sometimes it do. But for the most part, we want to have the most accurate trend line as possible. So once again, y'all see how the market, and I'm gonna really show y'all so y'all can really see what's going on. Y'all see how every time the market comes to that white line, what is it doing? It shoots up. Hold on, let me move this out of the way. I want to make sure everybody see this. So every time the market come to that white line, aka the trend line, what do it do? Shoots up. Okay, it comes back down. What do the market do? Shoots up. It comes back down to that trend line. What does it do? Shoots up. Okay, it gets around to that trend line again. It ends up doing a what? Breakthrough. Once it, or you call it breakout, however you want to call it. Once it breaks through that trend line, we are now looking for the opposite way. So if we in the upwards trend, oh my gosh, hold on, y'all. Let me get my screen right, because if we're in the upward trend, right? If we're in the uptrend and that trend breaks, what is the opposite way of up? Down. So we in the uptrend and we see that the market just broke through that trend line, then that means we should be looking for what? Downtrends, or at least sales. So once you see that breakthrough right here, you seen that market, that pattern was broken, you get in for a sale, ride it down, you could have made some money right there. Okay, so like keep it simple. When you thinking of trend lines, think of like I say, right, a surfer in waves, or think of like a staircase, right? You can't, when you going upstairs, you don't go through the stairs, right? You put your foot on a stair, you go up. You put your foot on a stair, you go up. You put your foot on a stair, you keep going up. So hopefully that will help you really understand the trend line. Another thing, if we're in a uptrend, you need to make sure that your trend line is under the market. The reason why you will make sure your trend line is under the market, because that is support. So if we in an uptrend, right? Everybody see my trend line, that white line. Y'all see how it's not above it, above the market, but under. The reason why, because we use this trend line as a support area in an entry where we go in for our buys. So if we know if we in the uptrend, that means we should be looking for what? Buys. So with that being said, every time that market comes to that white line, first off, what is it doing? It's shooting up. If we understand that, that means the next time that market comes to that white line, we finna get into a buy. And guess what? We're gonna ride it up and make money along the way. So please remember that when you're doing trend lines and you're doing an uptrend, make sure the market is under it. The trend line is supposed to be represented as like a trampoline, basically. If that would help you understand, the trend line is like a trampoline when you do an uptrend. Now, there's gonna be times where in the market you will have a quote unquote downtrends. So just how we did uptrend, downtrend the same way. You find a trend line, just like that. Opposite. So now, instead of us, we're thinking about like trampolines when it comes to our trend lines. We want to think about a ceiling, right? So if you're going downstairs, you can't jump up through the ceiling, because the ceiling is what's going to keep getting lower and lower and lower, right? If you walk down your stairs right now, that ceiling is going to go down with you. I don't know too many downstairs where the ceiling goes up as you go down. Does that make sense? So it's the same thing. As this market starts to go down, you have a ceiling right here, and we use this ceiling as a place where the market the market rejects it and it drops down. Once again, what does it do? What does the market do every time it touches the trend line? It touches that white line, what it do? Drop down. It touched the white line, what it do? Drop down. With us understanding that, what type of trade should we be thinking about getting in? Sales. Why do we get in for sales? Because sales is when we're trying to make money when the market drop. So when we see a pattern of the market keep dropping at a certain area, that's when we go in. So once we see that market get to that white line, we get in for sales on the way down. We see that market get that white line, we get in for sales on the way down. We see that market getting in for the white line, we getting in for sales on the way down. We see that market getting in for white line again, we getting in for sales on the way down. That makes sense. Now, once again, what did I teach y'all about the breakouts? Breakouts, breakthrough, however you want to look at it. If you see a breakout, that means the market has broken that pattern and is going the opposite way. So if we in a down pattern, right, and you see there's a breakout, what is the opposite of down? Up. It's an up pattern. So once you see that market broke through that trend line and it's clear as day, that's when we go in for what? Buys. Boom. Getting for a buy, you would have made money on that breakout. This is why the trend line strategy is so powerful, because either way the market go, we make money. It's either we're going to get it for a buy or a sell. We either going to trade with the pattern, or we're going to trade when the pattern is broken. Regardless, you just got to know when to get in. So it's important that we understand that, because these are things that's going to help us. And once again, another tip, please make sure when you do your trend line, there's nothing on the other side. You accurate and clean trend line and is when you don't is when you have nothing on the other side. So y'all see how I did my downwards trend, right? And it's okay if something poke out a little bit, but for the most part, y'all see how I got my downwards trend, and you see how the market is not going past that white line at all. That's how you know you have a clean trend line, not something where your trend is right. Because a lot of people have a trend line and they'll put it like this. You see how it's like the market's on both sides of the trend line? That's not a clean trend. You want to make sure when you do your trend line that you have it at an area where it's nothing on the other side, and it's very clear and it's very accurate that you see that every time that market touches that white line, you see that that's where the market is reacting off of. You understand? So once again, make sure when you're doing a buy trend, an uptrend or a downtrend, that the other side of that trend line, the market is not pushing through or it's not showing. It's okay if it do a little, you know what I'm saying, a little wick out. That's okay. A little wick like this, that's okay. But overall, there should be nothing on the other side. That's how you know if you're doing a proper trend. Your trend should not look like this. Because once again, y'all see how the market is on both sides of the white line? No, it should be on either the bottom side if you're doing a sell. Then if you're doing a buy, same thing. It should only be on one side of that trend. So if I'm doing a buy right here, y'all see how it's nothing on the other side of that trend, of my trend line, and everything is on top of it. If you would have put your trend like this, that's inaccurate, because it's the market is on both sides. That's not an accurate trend line. You want to make sure, once again, when you do your trend lines, that it's not showing on the other side. So whichever one you do, make sure it's only showing on one side. So if you're doing a buy, if you're doing a uptrend trend line, make sure that there's nothing on the bottom of that trend. Okay? And if you're doing a sell, hold on, let me do the sell. This video finna end. If you're doing a sell, make sure that there's nothing on the top side of that trend. That's how you know if you're doing an accurate trend line. I hope this video was helpful. Please let me know if you have any more questions. Thank you.